I still remember that night like it was yesterday. The kind of evening where the air in that fancy Chicago five-star hotel felt thick with money and egos. And I was just the invisible hand pouring the champagne. Emma Thompson, 25, single mom scraping by on tips to keep the lights on for my little girl. But when that smug investor leaned back and snapped at me, "Watch it, honey, spill that bubbly and you'll be scrubbing floors till you're gray." His table erupting in that fake, cutting laughter that makes your skin crawl, something inside me just snapped, not in anger, but in this quiet resolve I'd carried since losing my dad. And as I glanced at the investment contract glowing under those crystal chandeliers, a deal worth billions, tying up tech startups and real estate empires, I spotted the poison pill buried in the fine print. A sneaky clause that had hand control to the shady partners in under a month, gutting everything Michael Sterling had built. It wasn't like I was there to play hero, and I was just trying to make rent, my plain black dress hanging loose after too many skipped meals, hair tied back in a no-fuss bun. No makeup to hide the tired lines around my eyes from late-night shifts and early mornings with my daughter, Lily. Growing up, I'd been the kid in the shadows of my dad's cluttered study, Professor Elias Reed, the economics wizard banks chased for advice, drilling into me how these traps worked. "Emma, it's not about the flash. It's the details that devour empires," he'd say, his voice gravelly from years of lectures, before cancer took him when I was 17, leaving Mom and me with debts and his dog-eared notebooks. But these folks at the gala, oh man, they saw me as no thing and nobody in scuffed shoes, dodging their jabs like the woman in the emerald gown whispering loud enough for everyone. Look at her lingering, probably hoping for scraps, her date chuckling. "Yeah, bet she thinks a merger's just two companies getting hitched." Their words stung, sure, like salt on a fresh cut, but I kept pouring, hands steady, thinking of Lily's smile waiting at home, and how Dad always said underestimation was the best weapon. The room buzzed with that power-drunk energy, Sterling at the head table, his silver hair catching the light, eyes sharp but weary from decades wheeling and dealing in Chicago's cutthroat boardrooms. This deal was his legacy, merging his real estate firm with a tech giant. But I knew from Dad's notes it was rigged, the clause letting the tech side siphon assets quietly, driven by their CEO's grudge from a past deal gone sour, where Sterling outbid them on prime downtown land, fueling this petty revenge masked as partnership. As the night dragged on, the mockery ramped up, this balding lawyer with wire-rimmed glasses sneering, "Stick to the trays, sweetheart. Leave the big leagues to us," his voice dripping sarcasm. The whole table howling like I'd told a joke. But I couldn't let it slide, not when billions in jobs, families hung on it. I stepped closer to Sterling, tray balanced, heart pounding like a drum in my chest, and whispered, "Don't sign that clause on page 32. It's a backdoor takeover. They'll own you in 30 days. The laughter exploded then, raw and vicious, the emerald gown lady gasping, "Oh please," like she even understands takeover what, from binge-watching Wall Street dramas? Her words hit hard, echoing my own doubts, the inner voice whispering I was out of my depth, a high school dropout mom faking it in a world of Ivy League sharks. But I pulled out Dad's faded note from my apron-yellowed paper, his precise handwriting outlining the exact trap, signed Elias Reed, and slid it beside the contract, saying softly, "Read it yourself. It's not opinion, it's math." The room froze for a beat. Then the Texan who jumped in, face reddening. "Ignore the help," Mike's bluffing for a handout, his mumble about my pathetic shoes meant to wound. But Sterling's eyes narrowed, fingers tapping the tablet. Crossed paths with Dad once, on a deal that saved his firm from bankruptcy, and now doubt flickered in his gaze, the air shifting as his assistant, a mousy woman in the corner, piped up shakily, I saw it too, sir, she's right." Chaos erupted, shareholders flipping pages, voices rising in panic, the lawyer barking, "This is insane, halting billions over a waitress." But I stood there, tray down, feeling the tide turn, my mind racing back to Dad's lessons on integrity over greed, how these egos blinded them to the obvious. In that electric silence, Sterling closed his eyes. You could almost see the wheels turning, weighing his empire against the truth, then grabbed the contract and ripped it clean in two, the tear echoing like a gunshot, his voice steady. "If not for you, Emma, I'd have signed my legacy away from today. You're no longer pouring drinks. You're my advisor. Gasps rippled through the room, the Emerald Lady's fork clattering, the Texio storming out, muttering curses about interfering nobodies, his plot unraveling in real time, years of scheming undone by a single mom's whisper. The fallout hit fast. The lawyer fired by dawn. His smug emails leaked online showing he'd known the clause all along, driven by kickbacks. The Emerald Lady's social invites dried up, her reputation tarnished in those elite circles where cruelty backfires. Me? I signed on with Sterling's team. Salary that let me breathe easy. Lily's daycare paid without worry. Walking into boardrooms in simple slacks. The same balding shareholders now leaning in when I spoke. One even stammering an apology. Didn't know you were Reed's kid, thought you were just. But I cut him off gently. Just what? Human. Months later, my husband Alex, quiet architect who'd built half Chicago's skyline, showed up late to a meeting, his presence alone making them squirm, reminding them power isn't always loud. Yet, looking back, it makes you wonder, was it justice or just luck that I was there? These deals still happen, folks getting trampled by the rich, and sometimes the little guy wins. But what if I hadn't spoken? Does real change come from one night, or is the system too rigged? Hey, if this hits close to home, that sting of being overlooked or fighting back, drop a like, subscribe for more real stories, and comment below. Have you ever called out something big and turned the tables? What's your take on power plays like this? Fair game or time for reform? Let's chat. Your stories keep this going.